Please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Under provisions of the Public Meetings Law of the State of Missouri, the board must adopt by roll call vote an agenda that includes the time, date, place, and tentative agenda for the meeting. A copy of the notice and the agenda for this meeting was posted on Monday, June 11, 2018, at the Administration Center, 1005 Waterford Drive, Florissant, Missouri. At the same time, copies of the notice and agenda were mailed to major radio and television stations, to 3 newspapers, to all municipalities, schools in the district, and posted on the district website. May I have a recommendation to adopt the agenda as posted?
So moved. Second.
Mr. Ebert and Mr. Chabot will not be joining us today due to prior engagements. They are excused. Connie, call for the vote. Attendance.
Mrs. Ponder?
Aye.
Dr. Thurman?
Aye.
Mrs. Halstead?
Aye.
Secretary votes aye. Dr. Graves?
Aye. All right. Each month, the communications team presents a short video of district highlights and successes. Here are our shared images of success.
All across the Ferguson Florissant School District, students are experiencing success. The learning never stops at Ferg Floor. Right after the Summer Institute, many teachers, instructional coaches, and administrators took time to work on different ways to strengthen their math teaching practices. Dr. Adam Smith presented summer math training focused on fact fluency for grades kindergarten through 8th. Quoted from Dr. Smith, "We know that fact fluency is a huge piece of math instruction, and fact fluency mastery leads to increased success in mathematics. As we continue to improve fact fluency practices district-wide, this training was timely and appropriate to spearhead and galvanize efforts as we plan for the upcoming school year." McClure High School juniors Santia Medeiros and sophomore Allison Durham have original art pieces on display in the 2018 Congressional Art Exhibition at the St. Louis University Art Museum. The exhibition is hosted by Missouri Congressman William Lacy Clay. Medeiros, whose artwork placed first in the 2017 competition, placed third this year with her piece entitled Afrofessional. The piece will hang in Congressman Clay's St. Louis office. On Wednesday, May 16th, 14 students from all 3 high schools were inducted into the Ferguson Florissant School District's new district-wide mentoring initiative, My Brother's Keeper. The initiative is inspired by former President Barack Obama. The goal of the program is to equip young high school men with the tools necessary to become effective leaders, grow, build networking skills, communicate and speak with eloquence, and to build a bond between their fellow brothers of the program to encourage and uplift each other. The ceremony was led by students in the program, including guest speaker, Mr. Wes Hall. Congratulations to all the students who have been inducted into the My Brother's Keeper program. From Wednesday, May 30th to Tuesday, June 5th, administration staff and principals gathered at Washington University in St. Louis and at the STEAM Academy to dive deep into the work that needs to be done to educate students well during the 2018 Summer Institute. Staff underwent various training exercises, breakout sessions, and planning sessions through partnerships with Envision Education, Educational Equity Consultants, and Targeted Leadership Consulting. The staff at Ferguson Florissant is empowered to work and connect with students on a much deeper level and build graduates. You can learn more about these stories and other examples of the great learning happening in our district on our website and on social media.
All right, thank you. This portion of the meeting is allocated to show a short video from the Missouri School Board Association to provide a report of current activities and events that may be of interest to board members and the community.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Missouri School Boards Association's board report for the month of June. We thank you for the opportunity to share some news and information during a few minutes of your board meeting. We begin with a look at the status of the State Board of Education. New Missouri Governor Mike Parson now has the opportunity to fill 6 of the 8 seats on the state board. 5 of those seats are open since the Missouri Senate did not confirm the individuals nominated by former Governor Greitens. The term for the 6th seat expires at the end of this month. The state board has not been able to function for the past 6 months due to a lack of a quorum. Interim Commissioner Dr. Roger Dorson told an audience at MSBA's recent leadership summit the unprecedented situation has put some issues on hold, including the approval of the latest version of the Missouri School Improvement Program that determines the accreditation status of Missouri's public school districts. Dorson said even when the state board has a quorum, the administrative rules process means it's likely to be several months before the new MSIP program is formally adopted.
One of the things that, besides when we get a board together to be able to have a board meeting, it's not going to be as simple as, okay, we have a board now, we can go start the administrative rule process, which, by the way, most of you may understand that it takes about 9 months for an administrative rule to go through the process. So it's not like something that, even if we have a board tomorrow, and had a board meeting tomorrow and approved the process, it'd still be like a 9-month process to get it going.
State Board of Education member Dr. Vic Lenz also participated on the panel at the Leadership Summit, and he said it's critical that the State Board of Education remain independent of partisan politics.
I've heard people talk about the local board. When I was on the local board and the newspaper asked me, what party do you represent? I said, it doesn't matter what party. This is an apolitical job. I'm not going to even mention political party. Nobody knew until I thought I had to tell somebody when the governor asked me to consider this job, what party I would represent. And I still don't consider being even on the state board that I'm a Republican or a Democrat. I'm here for kids, and that's what it's all about. That's the kind of people we should be looking for on the board. But we don't want a stacked board that starts looking at things politically. That's going to ruin education.
Lenz is a former president of MSBA and a former member of the Lindbergh Board of Education. The new president of the Missouri School Boards Association is Mike Pratt of the Gasconade County R1 Board of Education in Herman. He assumed the role of president at the end of the Leadership Summit after serving as president-elect this past year. He says he's looking forward to his role on the MSBA leadership team.
As I start as your president, part of the team, we will face many challenges in the upcoming year. We will meet those challenges with great strength. But you know what I really look forward to? I really look forward to all the successes that our students, our teachers, administrators, and our boards will have in the upcoming year.
State officers elected at the June Delegate Assembly included President-elect Rhonda Gilstrap of the Blue Springs Board of Education and Vice President Linda Doherty of the Nixa Board of Education. MSBA presented individual board members with awards for achieving advanced, master's, and distinguished certification levels during the Leadership Summit. 20 school boards were recognized as outstanding boards of education for 2018, and 24 school boards achieved MSBA's Governance Team Award. One of the keynote speakers at this year's Leadership Summit was Virginia Jacobs, the Chief Equity and Member Services Officer for the National School Boards Association. Jacobs told school board members attending the Leadership Summit it's important for them to hold themselves accountable for the success of all students, even in a challenging educational environment.
First of all, don't give up. Be relentless when you're talking about policies that you're developing for students. They're accountable for outcomes. That's the short that's it. You're accountable for what happens to a student's life. When you have them for that 7 hours during the day, that should change their lives. That should be the place that they find comfort. That should be the place that they find that they have an opportunity in this world.
She said individual school board members can be accountable through what she called the power of I.
The power of I is really taking that opportunity to look at yourself. Look in the mirror. What can I do as an individual to change a child's life? And that is really important because we do think of school boards as being a governing body, and that's true. But individual school board members have to hold themselves accountable for outcomes for kids. And so the power of I is really looking at how you can make a change and how you can impact your school district.
She added it takes a lot of courage and determination to assume the responsibility of serving on a school board in today's environment. That's it for this month's edition of the MSBA Board Report. Thanks for allowing us to have some time at your board meeting, and so long from Columbia.
Thank you. This portion of the meeting is allocated for the board to provide an update of current activities and events in the district that may be of special interest to board members and the community. Ms. Ponder?
Thank you. I have the Human Resource Service Department update. The Human Resource Department sponsored current team members in going through the classes to obtain their initial certification from the Society for Human Resource Management as a certified HR professional. The SHRM certification is highly respected and is not yet common in the education arena. Dottie Graham is now the first Ferguson-Florissant School District HR team member to obtain her certification, and we expect more to follow in her footsteps this coming year. So kudos to Dottie. And then just a quick staffing update. As of this week, the district will have hired approximately 62% of the current open positions for the coming school year. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ponder. Dr. Thurman?
Good evening, everyone. First of all, I want to say that I had the honor of going to the leadership conference and watching our fellow board members, Ms. Connie Hard, receive her master's level certification, and then Dr. Graves to get her distinguished level, which is the top level. So it was such a wonderful event, and we learned a lot. You will, if you go to some of these conferences, you'll find that one of the big topics is equity. And so we went to several conferences to talk about equity, and it looks like we're kind of headed in the right direction, and so I think that's a good thing. And Ms. Jacobs, Esquire, we did listen to her, and she talked about accountability and the importance of being a board member and how it is a difficult job, and especially with that pay that we get. So it was worth the trip to go, and I want to say congratulations to our school board members. And also, as a school board, we received a governance award. So, well, we didn't actually receive it, but did we get it yet?
Not yet, but it will be imminent.
They forgot about us, but yeah. But Dr. Davis was really assertive in making sure that we got recognized and got the front table and everything. Anyway, long story. But my area is decorum, and so even though we don't have a report on numbers for the summer, the district is still engaging in best practices for improving decorum in our schools, and they're still going strong this summer. A team of district leaders will be engaged in comprehensive integrated 3-tier work in Kansas City, in Lawrence, Kansas, June 19th through the 21st. A second team of district leaders will be engaged in a positive behavior integrated supportive work in the Ozarks, June 19th through the 21st. Both summer trainings are research-based and provide the best support systems for students in our schools. So I want to say thank you to Mr. Beals for the report.
Thank you, Dr. Thurman. Ms. Hogshead?
Good evening. I have the report for technology and for the grounds and building. And for grounds and building, there will be 2 items on the agenda tonight, the bond budget and the capital budget. And then in the consent agenda Airport Elementary School is getting a new oven and dishwasher, so isn't that exciting for them? And then the boardroom, our new boardroom is getting new carpet for the walls and no mold, right?
Nice and soundproof.
All right. So when I scream. And then technology is working on it and installing a new firewall, and as well as they purchased 510 Dell desktops and monitors, and 2,300 Chromebooks, and they're moving everything over to the new administrative building. So that's my report. Have a good rest of your June.
All right, thank you, Ms. Hogshead. Ms. Harsh, please.
Good evening, everyone. As Donna was stating about the Lead Summit that we went to in June and about our governance award, we're one of 24 districts that got that. And I don't know if you all know what that entails. We got it last year before we get it. There's 7 steps that is involved to getting that governance award. One of them, we have to be accredited. We have to have a quorum. Last October, when we went to the annual conference, we had a quorum. Also in February, we went to the legislature meeting that was put on February 2018. You have to have at least 2 advanced certifications. You have to at least have 1 master certification, and you have to have 1 delegate. And I was a delegate and went to the delegate assembly. We didn't vote on anything, but we did discuss how important it is for student safety. That was the #1 topic. Also, our 7th step is all the board members completed the essential training when you first come on board with the MSBA. So that's how we get the governance award every year. Mine is the build community and engage stakeholders. We had a great turnout at the STEAM Expo in Florida, South Berkeley, in May 10th. There were many exciting STEAM-related activities, including aqua robotics in the pool. Students and families had an opportunity to learn about a variety of STEAM careers. We held our annual retirement dinner on May 11th. The board appreciates the hard work of all our teachers and the way they impact our community. Leo Ganal was named the first district principal of the year. Leo does an amazing job of building our community. On Wednesday, May 16th, the district held the inaugural induction ceremony for our mentoring initiative, My Brother's Keeper, at the Ferguson Florissant School District. We are launching this life and community changing initiative with 25 to 30 young men and look forward to expanding to include more young men and women in our district mentoring efforts next year. District staff is busy planning the Back to School Festival, including the Back to School Fair that's going to be new this year, the Back to School Parade. The festival will begin August 4th with the parade starting at 9 and the fair starting at 10. The parade will begin at the old Dick Weber Bowling Alley and travel north on Lynn Meadows, east on Dirthakey, and finally turn north on Waterford, where it will end at the Back to School Fair at 10,005 Waterford, the old administrative building. We have wrapped up the first round of reconstruction meetings and have begun smaller group meetings. We will continue to add more small group meetings, which you will find listed on our website as they become available. If you're interested in hosting a small group meeting, please let us know. And you can find this information, including links to our video and all the meetings, at our www.fergfloor.org/strong. And these are just a few of the ways our district is connecting with stakeholders. Please remember to go on our website. That website has a lot of information that you can find out anything you want to know. And also, don't forget, we have our parade June 30th in Ferguson. It started at 10. If you need more information, should be some information on our website, or you can contact Kevin Hampton or our President, Courtney Grace. Thank you so much.
Sorry about that. Thank you, Connie. So my report is very short. I just want to say commend everyone for a wonderful school year, and that's teachers, support staff, administration. We have another one in the books. Looking forward to seeing exactly our results from the test scores. Fingers crossed is what Mr. Donovan's doing over there. But we are excited. We're excited as a district. We're continuing to move in the right direction. And just one thing I did want to highlight is our one initiative that we wanted to make sure that we were moving closer to in regards to equity was our advanced placement students and students that have signed up for courses. So this year, I just want to talk about in 2017 at McClure, we had 117 students who took AP classes. This year in 2018, we had 128. At McClure North, in 2017, we had 148 students who took AP classes. This year, we had 347. And McClure South Berkeley, in 2017, we had 55 students that took AP classes, and this year, we had 149. So when I say our district is working very hard in closing the achievement gap, I'm sorry, I can't talk tonight. In closing the achievement gap, those are just some of the ways that we are doing that. So at the conference which Donna, myself, Ms. Harsh went to, and Dr. Davis, it was just a lot of great information that we were able to gain as a district, and just kind of meeting with other people who's doing the same work that we're doing. It's great to see when we are in a meeting that, oh, we do that, oh, we do that too. And just knowing that we are all on the same page and we're moving in the right direction. I just think it's really fantastic that we are cutting edge. Our policies and procedures, we're working on those continuously. And the last part, I just want to talk about our graduation results that they're still trying to figure out. But I just kind of wanted to report exactly how many students that we had graduated. And I actually just asked for that information. And as you can see, they're trying to pull it together for me. And we have, okay, good. Okay, so at McClure, we had 253 graduates. At MSB, we had 122 graduates. And at North, we had 387 graduates. So I think that is amazing, and we are continuing to, like I said, move into the right direction. All right, Dr. Davis. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Lord. Will you be recording tonight?
Two seconds.
Okay.
Good evening, board. Sorry. Just wanted to let you guys know that we've met this week, Monday through Wednesday, and we are continuing to work through some of the agreements. So we're trying to get a head start, and also we kind of trying to clean up a few things as far, because you know how things go. So we've been waiting to look at policy in the CBA as well, and to see if anything needs any cleanup work. But so I just want to let you know that we are continuing that work to make sure that we're ready to go for next year. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Lori. Dr. Davis.
All right, good evening, everybody.
Evening.
So I have a few things here. I will say, just to sort of piggyback on something that was said earlier about the APR. So we expect the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education to give us the results in December this year. That's delayed because there has been a delay in, well, the science test is not going to be a part of it because that was a field test. And there's some changes there, but we expect that they'll let districts know across the state the first week in December, and then it'll be public, I think the third week in December is what I've been told so far. But as soon as we know, certainly we're going to share it with the board and then certainly go public with it when Desi sets the embargo for that. So I want to take this opportunity, we've had quite a bit of tragedy in our district over the last couple of days with students, and you may have seen some of it on the news, and I know that McClure and Mr. Gerald had an incident happen at MSB as well, and so I just want to take an opportunity for not only the lives that were lost, but the lives that were left behind and the impact that it has on families and community, because it has a huge impact, and then there are things happening in other districts right now that, it pains my heart when, I hear all this stuff. There's an incident happening in Riverview Gardens, and it just bothers me to no end when I hear these things. And so I just want to take an opportunity, if you would join me and just a moment of silence, and you know, you spend that moment however you feel necessary, but think about the families that are left behind in the tragedy of all of what has happened in our community, because really we're all one, and it's really important for us to be supportive of each other. So please join me in that moment of silence. Thank you. I'll try to be quick here. Summer Institute went really well. Every year we have Summer Institute. So every year we immediately after school's over, right after Memorial Day, it's really important. We're intentional about that. It's important to do it right after school's over because it's fresh in the minds of principals and ISLs and leaders in the district who really focus on moving academics forward, learning and outcomes really forward. So we always do our Summer Institute the week right after Memorial Day. We start at WashU. We've had a great partnership with them. In fact, myself and Philip Boyd, Attorney Boyd, met with Dean Rollins over at the College of Arts and Sciences here recently of a new partnership we have for our teachers, specifically giving some training for our teachers. So we had a really good Summer Institute, but the learning was really around getting ready for next school year because while I think we're going in the right direction, there's still so much more to do, so much work that has to be done as learners, leaders and learners, and supporting our teachers. You saw on the screen in the images of success with our math workshop that was going on. We have the ELA one that's going on. Folks in Tiffany Bess's department are working diligently to galvanize teachers around learning and outcomes. But I say this often, and I'll say it now, and I really need this to get in the hearts of our people in the community, that it really is about student learning and outcomes, right? And I just don't want students graduating with a diploma. And while we graduated over 700 students this past year, having a piece of paper is not enough, right? Kids have to have skills. They have to know how to speak well, think well, write well, do math well, so that when they leave us, they have a diploma that gives them the tools they need to have next steps, employability, educability, whatever their decisions are. And so I just wanted to say that because it's so important to keep doing that. And it's important for us to keep learning as leaders, right? Like we're all learners. We all share that title, all of you. We all share that, parents, community, all of us are learners, and we have to get better for our children. I say that only because I think it's so important, and I say it largely as a daddy, but also as superintendent, that everything we do, any decision you hear the board make, you heard Dr. Thurman talk about equity and Dr. Graves and many talk about equity, it's really about children and the decisions we make and the people it affects most, like our most vulnerable population, and how does the decision we make affect them? That's what we always try to think about. We had a really good time with our social justice and equity work that we started out with at WashU. So the first 2 days, Billy Mayo and Tony Neal and Phil, I don't know if I Phil's last name, but it was simply amazing. That was some of the best training that we have had. In fact, we were in the workshop we were in, I think Parkway was presenting on, but we actually just went through that training. When I got there, we had just got done with the training here at Berg Floor. And so we are going to be doing that same training work within our schools. Because what it does is it begins to put the mirror in front of all of us around issues of race, and biases that are in our own heads about other people that may or may not look like us. We called it out. We called out the black. We called out the white. We dealt with particular issues, right? Because in the history of our country, we have been divided. It used to be the North and South, but now it's black and white. Not just in this area, but across this entire country. And so we have been having those very poignant conversations about race. There's very important conversations about how we think about other people, and so it was just powerful. And I feel strong about the work going forward within our schools. We really want our teachers to engage in it, and we want our students to engage in it, right? Because they're our futures, and they have to have that conversation about these issues that they're going to face. And so I want to say that here because we're constantly thinking about how we improve our district. I'm really excited too about the work that we're going to be doing this summer We have a couple of, I think 8 people this year. It's probably our last year going to Harvard and connecting that work with our problem of practice. But Dr. Thurman mentioned a minute ago about CI3T. All that work we're doing is really centered around that problem of practice that we came up with a couple of years ago. And it's really about the relationships between teachers and students in the classroom. And so it's constant ongoing work. The data piece around discipline, we've done some revising of our student expectation code. We even did some more revision work of that this year. And so that work doesn't happen overnight though. Y'all know that, right? Like it takes time to make these things happen. And I'm just one person on the whole team. Like, and there's no way I will ever take credit for it. I'm just a part of the team. But, what I will say is, we have a presentation that's going to come forward after we're done here about block scheduling. But there's so many different pieces, promotion standards that we have to look at. We're looking at restructuring. I mean, all these things are done intentional because we have to get our kids ready for life. But we have to hold kids accountable too, right? We have to hold parents accountable. We have to be held accountable. But we're going to have to really address not creating new policies, just enforce the policies we already have in place, right? Like Senate Bill 319, for example, and kids reading on grade level by the time they leave 4th grade. And we haven't been holding people, children and families to that while giving them the support they need to be successful, right? So we're not going to create a new policy necessarily. We may make some changes there, but we're going to highlight them and be very intentional about how we hold students accountable, because at the end, they have to graduate. I want these numbers to be 100%. That's what we're after. Our graduation rate is higher than it's ever been. Last year, currently our graduation rate from 2017, 4-year graduation rate is 80.6. It's never been in the 80s, okay? My hope is it'll get even higher this year. I don't know, but principals know I'm holding them accountable to it, especially the high school folks. I'm holding them accountable to that. I need all of them graduating. And as we improve that, we also want to improve them graduating with the skills they need to be successful in life. So a lot of changes there that takes time. We have all administrators meeting coming up 24th and 25th of July. We partnered with the Federal Reserve Bank. They've been really gracious over the years with us. They bought us AP economics books, equal opportunity schools. We have more kids taking AP. I mean, some really great things that I think are happening for our district, but it takes time, and we got to keep pushing it forward. One thing I'm really excited about is we have a partnership with Regions Bank, and so we met at the new administration building in the boardroom and had probably 80% of our schools represented with a parent. And Regions Bank is doing classes in our community with the PTO president or the key parent at that school. We just need at least one parent and the principal. And they're going to be teaching on budget and credit. Regions Bank I personally sat down with them and met and had a conversation about, what I'm really after is improving home ownership for those who want it, because I think that improves economic development in our community. But I think budgeting is really important, because you can't have good credit if you don't have a budget. You have a budget, know how to spend your money, and then you got to know how to manage your credit so that you can buy a house and it be yours, and it changes everything. So Regions Bank has said, my issue is going to the bank and seeing somebody not having an account and having to spend a lot of money at a payday loan or all these different kinds of things, when we just really need to give parents those tools. So Regions Bank has stepped up, and so I'm really excited about that partnership. We are on track with our building assessment system. We've had a number of meetings outside of those 3 large meetings. I had another meeting at the library at the STEAM school after all those, and some of the smaller community meetings with our parent advisory group. We had a good crowd there, probably about 35, 40 people that came to that meeting, and we tape them all and we tweet out and all that good stuff. But just trying to really be on top of keeping people engaged around October when we get to that. But we will be having at least one more large meeting, likely sometime in September, once we know exactly when the building assessment system is done. When that assessment system is done and we have those results and we look at them and the board looks at them, we'll do a big public meeting with MGT, who we've contracted with. It will likely be in September. They haven't been set yet. As soon as we can set that date, once we can know when we'll get those results back, we'll do that and give at least 30 to 45 days notice so people can have time to be able to plan to be there. But that's going to be really important, so that when October gets here, we should be on track for the board having the data they need to make a decision about how we move forward. I think that's it. Yeah, so we are excited about the summer. I'm gonna try to get me at least a day or two. My anniversary is July 17th, so I'm excited about it. My wife and I are gonna, if nothing else, we're gonna sing Junior somewhere in at least the 2 days, right? So we're excited. BJ would kill me if you heard me call him Junior in public. But thank you all for, for your support of our district, because it's really about us as a team. And it's a lot of work, y'all know it is, but it's important work. And I don't complain about it because I love it, because I know the value of a great education. Mandela said it better than anybody, that this is the best weapon that we can use to change our communities, is educating children well so that they have the tools. And that's what I'm after, is doing that. So, thank you.
All right, thank you, Dr. Davis. The board allocates this portion of the meeting to allow stakeholders the opportunity to comment on both agenda items and non-agenda items at the start of each board meeting. Prior to the public comment period, participants are asked to fill out a comment card with their name, address, phone number, email address, and topic to be addressed, and will be allowed up to 3 minutes to speak. Members of the audience who wish to speak to the board are requested to speak from the podium, identify themselves, and in keeping with district policies 4054, 4059, and personnel law, should refrain from making negative comments that are personally identifiable. While the board will not directly respond to speakers during the public comment period, the board president may make clarifying remarks at the end of the comment session to correct any misstatements of facts. And we have one person, Ms. Judy Ferguson-Shaw, who will be talking about grade A for change.
Good evening, board and the audience. So I am Judy Ferguson Shaw, a retired Ferguson-Clarkson's Guidance Department Chair and a lifetime member of NEA, retired, here to introduce to some the Grade A for Change Political Action Committee, for which I am the treasurer and the campaign manager. I also want to encourage individuals to seek positions to the board. Grade A for Change is a political action committee, just as the arms of the FFNEA PAC and the North County Labor Union PAC. Members of Grade A for Change live in the Ferguson-Clarkson School District. GAFC is a nonpartisan political action committee set up to find and encourage individuals to ultimately serve as a director to the Ferguson-Clarkson School Board. It promotes candidates who are able to bring diversity, both racially and philosophically, to the board. GAFC supports candidates who are professionals of the greatest integrity and who can be trusted to deliver what residents desire: accreditation, improved student achievement, equity, accountability, transparency. Additionally, GAFC endorses candidates who really listen to their constituents and willing to speak with them and offer credible voices while working to improve the Ferguson-Clarkson School District on all levels to a first-class, award-winning national model, the Compton School District. Grade A for Change leaders do not try to trip up its constituents, but faces opposition to clarify issues. Prior to the Citizens for Community and Educational Change, which preceded Grade A for Change, there were 0 African Americans on the Ferguson-Clarkson School Board. When board members and the FFNEA were questioned, the response was always, "We cannot find African Americans willing to run for the board." Now that GAFC has been successful in bringing qualified African Americans to the board, members of the board and the 8th board member have been busy trying to disqualify and defame Grade A for Change. Instead of embracing it for all of us to work together for the benefit of our children and our community, if the board is interested in moving.
Can I have a motion? So moved. Any questions?
A lot of work, but thank you very much.
You're welcome.
We appreciate you, the work that you do.
Thank you. I did have one question in regards to early education.
Yes, ma'am.
did we increase more in that budget area, or?
Actually, the salaries did go up on that, and it was just there's natural salary increase. We've not increased positions at this time. We're still, we're still working with the early ed staff to look at that program. We've been meeting with Shantana and some of the early ed staff to figure out how we can make that program even more robust and expanded. We've not at this time added positions, but we haven't cut any positions, and when positions open up, we've been able to fill them, so.
Any other questions? All right, are you guys all in favor of approving, the operating budget for fiscal 2018, 2019? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? You have a new operating budget.
Thank you very much, everybody, and now you don't have to look at me anymore. You guys either.
So, if there are no further business, we adjourn the meeting. Thank you.
Great presentation. Moving forward, you should join to help Grade 8 for Change. I assure you that if the board were diversified in 2014, GAFC would never have been established, as there would not have been a need. Further, there was a time in its past that FFNEA PAC supported individuals who were authentically committed to advancing the cause of public education. Was that placed on the back burner because of restructuring? Or does the FFNEA PAC only endorse candidates recommended by particular incumbents? I invite individuals who are concerned further about GAFC PAC's mission to either speak with me face-to-face, call me, text me, or email me. I have my cards here for your convenience. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Madam Secretary, can you please read disbursements?
As for payroll teachers and non-teachers, $8,806,907.68.
And for the operational disbursements, $2,424,476.32, making a total of $11,231,384.
May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. All right, oh, hold on, a whole bunch of pages. All right, now we will have Dr. Deanna Kitson come talk about AB block scheduling for the 2019-2020 school year.
Good evening, board. Good evening. So tonight I'm going to present to you the AB block schedule proposal for board action. The administration is recommending the AB block schedule for implementation starting the 2019-2020 school year. The AB model replaces our more traditional schedule of the 6 or 7 day 50-minute period with the longer 90-minute period that meet every other day. The AB model effectively supports our IB pathway that we're currently in the process of trying to achieve. The AB model supports and promotes the utilization of varied, innovative instructional techniques. In addition, teachers can cover more content with fewer interruptions, provide students with more attention, one-on-one support, and they can engage students in more sustained, in-depth learning activities. We think about the different sophisticated projects, teamwork-based exercises, and other activities that could not easily be completed in the traditional 50-minute block. Our implementation plan, we are already starting the training process this year, and even though we are waiting for board action, we have some training because our middle school will be attending the training as well this summer. They're on a 70-minute block right now, so we're utilizing that resource for our current middle school teachers and leaders, as well as our high school lead teachers from each building. And then throughout the year, we would, if it is approved, we're going to really think about our training and integrate those in our ILT days to really support the teachers throughout the year, so we're ready to start strong during the implementation year of 2019-2020. So at this time.
All right, thank you, Deanna.
Thank you.
Can I have a recommendation to approve the AB block schedule for implementation starting 2019-2020 school year?
So moved. Okay.
Any discussion?
working on it for a while.
We've been, yes, the committee, yes, we're excited.
Hearing none, all approve?
Aye.
Any nays? All right, you now have block scheduling for 2019. All right, Dr. Boyd?
Thank you. Good evening, again, Board. The administration is seeking approval for the addition of multi-classroom leaders at the secondary level, also known as MCLs. MCLs will be current teachers who will be responsible for leading a grade or content level team around instructional practices to improve student achievement. MCLs will work with teachers in both coaching and co-teaching capacities. MCLs will strategically plan with their respective teams to backwards design learning outcomes and collaborate with building administrators in the development and evaluation of teachers. MCLs will have a part-time teaching load and utilize the remainder of their time working with team members. Additionally, MCLs will work 20 days beyond the teacher contract and attend administration team meetings as needed. MCLs will receive a $15,000 stipend for the additional duties and days associated with the position.
All right, may I have a recommendation to approve the creation of the new positions of multi-classroom leaders?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I have a question. How are you going to, they're going to be part-time teaching in the secondary schools, and then the other part, they'll be doing some administrative or teaching supportive kinds of roles for teachers within their building.
Within the building, yes. So if you, yeah, I'll say a few things about it. It's really exciting. We had a team that went to visit Charlotte last year. It's been a while now. And Mr. Gerald actually used to work in Charlotte-Mecklenburg School, so he's here, as well as a couple of others who went with us, and so he can help answer some of these questions. But it's really exciting because it's similar to the ISL position that we currently have in our elementary schools that would have been in place for the last 2 years. And one of the things that we are really interested in is getting our teachers, so every teacher don't want to be a principal, but they want some kind of leadership role that they can help support other teachers and create that kind of environment for learning and growing. So essentially you would have a teacher who, say, Dr. Thurman is a math teacher at the high school, and so with the new block schedule, you would teach 3 classes a day, for example. And actually, we'll use the traditional one, but this could happen almost immediately. So right now, teachers teach 5 classes. And so with an MCL, you would have maybe 3 classes, and then the other 2 periods, you would be doing work maybe with some other math teachers and supporting them, or it could be working with new teachers and supporting them as they grow to becoming experts. So there are a number of ways you can make it, build a hybrid model so that you teach half your day, and then the other half of the day you're supporting other teachers, or even you could be supporting students and doing some of that other kind of work. So there are a lot of ways you can unfold that position. When we went to Charlotte, and we went to West Charlotte High School, and we actually, and Ransom Middle School, so we went to a high school and a middle school, and so there were a number of different ways that they use people in those capacities. We had one person who was specifically supporting brand new teachers. So they spent half their day in the classroom teaching, so they're still connected to the work, but and they're responsible for that data, but they're also helping brand new teachers who are coming into the schools to help grow them in a content area or broadly as new teachers and novices. So there are a number of ways that it could unfold.
Okay, and how are they being trained?
Yeah, so we actually are have a job description that we put together. So we're looking for people with particular expertise already in certain areas, but also we have been partnering. For example, we have a really good connection with the folks in Charlotte. Denver also does it. We haven't gone to Denver, but they also have multi-classroom leaders as well as a couple of other places around the country. But Charlotte is the one that we've sort of connected with because they've been doing this work for a while now. And so we're specifically with the job description looking for people with certain expertise. And for example, if they're going to be coaching other teachers in math, we want to have some additional math training, some additional leadership training that they would come to the role in, and then give them support in terms of the ongoing training they would need to develop. Just like with our ISLs, we spend a lot of time, particularly with our elementary folks. We have, for example, Liz Raymer, who is an expert when it comes to literacy, so she's worked with them quite a bit on that work. She did it herself for a number of years in another district. So using the expertise of the folks we have to do the ongoing training, but also giving them opportunities to get additional training themselves.
So are you looking at like growing administrators? Are you looking at interns? Is this kind of this model?
So we're really after our teachers and giving our teachers opportunities to lead. We like to build from within. We're really interested in our own folks and the work that they're already doing. What it may do is, we've been really good this year with our staffing model and maximizing our staff. So we may expand the numbers of teachers we have in the school in order to accommodate that shift. We're using federal dollars to support this as well, so that work can be done through our Title I dollars. We've got some additional money when it comes to that. We've given monies to the secondary schools that we haven't done in the past, which is why we're able to do this now. So typically what we've done is we've had our elementary schools, we've got the Title I dollars. Starting back in January, we gave every school except North, because of their free reduced lunch rate, didn't get it at the end of the second semester, but they're getting it now. So they're getting over $250,000, just that school alone, and all of them are getting it based on the numbers of students they have, so they're formulas that you use. So we're using those dollars to support that work, so that teachers can not only get that stipend, but also that training that they'll need. But we really are interested in growing our teacher corps, so that teachers, when you look at retention data, what teachers often would tell you, money is important, but what's more important is the relationship they have with their principal, and then the learning environment they're in, and they can grow as a leader and a learner, as a teacher. Again, we have a number of our teachers, 60+% of our teachers have master's degrees already. And so we want to capitalize on that and use people. You strengthen it when you can grow from within. And then new people we bring on board will be new teachers who would join our district out of college. We're fortunate. We're able to get some pretty good, strong applicants with the positions that Ms. Palmer spoke about earlier, the 60+ percent of the positions we filled already. We're able to get some really strong candidates, and so we want to grow the teachers that are already here into these leadership roles.
Okay, you answered. I have two other questions.
Sure.
You answered one of them, and that's the money.
Yes.
Of course, where it's coming from.
Yes.
And then the others, how many are you looking to?
So, so it's every year depending on, ESSA, and how we get that support from the federal government. We've gotten Title IV dollars this year too, which is a little different because Title IV dollars, Dr. Walker, is she here?
I am.
She is. So Title IV dollars are a little more flexible. So we've gotten some additional dollars along those lines, not a whole lot more, but we are giving it to secondary schools. So, every year we'll be constantly looking at how we get those title dollars, and continue to support that growth and development of our teachers, especially our secondary schools now. Our ISLs, our elementary, that's how we funded them, is through those federal dollars, and just maximizing the use of our staffs. So that's how we will, continue to look at that funding source, and many of them are still funded, teacher-wise through, local dollars, because we pay teachers out of our general fund, or I get confused, this is general fund, special fund, and so we'll be able to give them that supplement for teachers who are going to be doing the MCL work.
This also has, it's probably good for helping our graduation rate, I would think.
Yes.
Good effect.
So if you remember a couple of years ago when I joined the team and we did the transition plan, and we'll talk about that probably at another point, but one of the things that the board allowed me to do was some restructuring of the organizational chart. And within the organizational chart, if you look at it, there's an ISL position and there's also an interventionist position. And then the ISL works specifically with adults and the interventionist works specifically with students, right? And really focusing on how we give them that support during the day. And so we're going to be constantly looking at that too at the secondary level. I feel strongly that, especially from a math perspective, that we could solve this issue with math. Like if we're thinking about STEM and STEAM careers, if kids don't have that foundation, then they're not going to be ready. And they have to be ready in middle school when it comes to math in order to be able to get ready for AP calculus, if you will, in high school, which is the goal. And so giving that support to the secondary schools can help us to really galvanize around where those gaps are. You talk about achievement gap, it's really opportunity gap, right? Giving kids the opportunity to excel so that they achieve well, right? If you put them in the right place with the right people, the right supports, and give them the opportunity to grow, whatever color they are, they can do it. But we got to create those opportunities, and that's what this will do for us as well.
I feel a lot better about it.
Yes.
I had a lot of questions.
Yeah. So actually, Mr. Gerald and Dr. Bland both went to Charlotte. And I left for them to say a word or two. And Laura was there. Laura was there. Mr. Clark, Chris Clark went with us. We had a good group of folks and asked him some really great questions. So you two, both of you just say a word or two.
Good after evening. It's evening. So thank you all for all of the support that you all have given to the McClure family and obviously the MSB family. So Dr. Davis, just thank you for pausing and acknowledging that the service for our student was today. So it's still kind of fresh, kind of raw. But yeah, just talking about the MCL position. So when you think about what that looks like, I'm an example of that. The pipeline to the principalship is amazing because the MCL, the multi-classroom leader. So I started my career as an instructional coach in Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools. And so I spent the bulk of my day as a coach in the classroom with teachers looking at content, but also pedagogy. So not only the what in terms of what are you teaching with regard to literacy, but how are you delivering? And the reason it's so important to have it at the teacher level, because what we were finding is that if the teacher had to wait for an administrator or someone else to come into their classroom to diagnose why the learning was breaking down, that was problematic. Because who do teachers talk to when they have a problem in the classroom? Another teacher. They don't typically go to their building level administrator to diagnose what's happening. And they share so many of those same students, especially across all content areas. So I started as a content coach. I spent several years, didn't really know that I was even interested in being a principal until once again I was tapped to do that work. But again, it's just a pipeline, if you would, to what you think about when you refer to principals as instructional leaders. So at my core, my focus wasn't so much on managing a building, it was managing quality instruction and what that looked like in the classroom. And so it's just an organic fit when you talk about, so what do I do if I'm a teacher and my teaching isn't reaching? Who do I go to? And so these MCLs are either going to be experts in classroom management, because let's just be honest, if you can't get the butts in the seat and get them listening, you're going to be hard pressed to teach them anything. And so that might be an area of expertise for that coach as well. And then ultimately reaching into those content areas to help them strengthen their ability to deliver high quality instruction. So, yeah.
Pretty much said it all, but I will also share that what was also powerful, we spoke with some MCLs, and I just remember one gentleman at Ransom who said, I don't want to be a principal, but I love supporting teachers, and this is my opportunity to support teachers. And then part of his day, he worked directly with students. And so the accountability also was there because he owned those students' progress and growth. And so not only was he working with those students, but he also worked directly with teachers and held them responsible also for those students that he was working with. So it was a collaborative effort with the coach, the MCL, the teacher, and / interventionist. So we saw different models at Ransom and at the high school, but what was consistent was high collaboration and support to teachers. So that's what I found to be a powerful piece. And so we have that at the elementary now, but we don't necessarily have that at our middle and high schools at this time.
Any additional questions? No, you asked half of mine, so I just got one. So I guess my only question is, and just kind of trying to see what it would look like if somebody was applying for it, do they have to be in that same school? Or can I go to another school and teach that same content? Or if it's so many in my school and not enough in another school, are we able to cross-train schools?
So that can happen. That can happen. So for example, like I'm secondary, and Dr. Graves, I know, if I'm really great at something, I don't mind sharing it. And so I could find myself, and oftentimes I did, because I became an expert, and here was my thing. I became an expert in what to do when kids can't read. using the research of Dr. Colin Yu, you know. And so whenever there was a need in the district, it was as simple as someone reaching out to the person, my supervisor. I reported to the executive director for Central Secondary Schools. And so she just reached out to me, and I would go to anyone's schools. It was in a Title I model, and so because Title I dollars were funded, I would go to any Title I school in the district where they needed that support, because that money was essentially filtering back to the same place. And so the short answer is yes. It wasn't a political, it was just beautiful. And it was a cost savings because it was job embedded professional development. As I trained teachers and coach teachers, I learned more. I didn't know what I didn't know until I started doing the work.
So we're not gonna have people sitting in their offices.
I was never in the office.
That's the thing that I would really struggle
No,
with.
yeah, I think you're right. In fact, we were having that conversation earlier, just being clear about what people's duties are. Not only teachers, but everybody who works in our schools, right? And the folks who work in the our office professionals, and because we're thinking about the training that we'll be giving them support around too, because everybody is important here. But to the point though, it's really about those dollars and how we look at how we appropriate those dollars in our schools, and the need in the school as well, because every school's needs are different, depends on where they are. So we'll look at all those pieces.
And this model fits in really well with what we're doing as a district in terms of our current coaching model that is continuing to be developed and perfected, but also in terms of looking at international outcomes. If you think about a country like Finland, and a few other countries that are top OECD countries, they attribute their growth in terms of their academic outcomes to more investment in teacher development that looks a lot like this. And so they utilize master teachers because, again, going back to the idea that many teachers don't necessarily want to leave the classroom, but they want to be able to work with their peers, they want to be able to have a little bit more income, but they want to be able to work and directly influence what's going on with pedagogical development. So this really fits international models that have been proven to be effective for the last 20 years.
And I want to say, when you talk about time, they're going to be teaching, co-teaching, and coaching. So when you talk about time, I mean, their time will be maximized because they're not just coaching teachers, but they're also going to spend some of their time targeting deficits of students and pulling students also. So they will have quite a task.
Well, 2 days of our Summer Institute this year, the last 2 days was specifically focused on coaching and even more specifically on feedback, right? And how principals give feedback to teachers, right? Because that's critical, right? Like principals have to be instructional leaders, so they have to know what the look fors are when they go in classrooms, and then how to coach teachers. Because oftentimes what happens is you're evaluating more so than you're coaching, and what we need is for teachers to have thought partners in their peers and in their leaders to be able to give them the kind of feedback that is sizable, that they can do, and then you can keep coaching and supporting me and how I give that feedback and what that conversation sounds like. And what am I going to work on? And when am I coming back? So, I mean, we have a 6-step process we have adopted and we'll use, but it takes time to learn that, right? And instead of just learning the steps, it's what does it really mean for me to grow as an educator? And that's what we're really after is, the one thing the research does say is that teacher quality is the biggest factor, or the one factor that has the biggest impact on positive student outcomes than anything else, right? And so what is teacher quality then, right? Because it's having the skills, but also taking those skills and transferring them so it gets into the heads of the students. And that's what we're after. Is we have experts in English and ELA, we have experts in math, who are thought partners around the district, and what we want to be is a learning community, so that as we grow, our communities grow. And ultimately, the beneficiaries are going to be our students. Because contrary to what the lists say right now, I hope the United States improves, but First Floor absolutely is. I'm going after Finland, and you don't do that by just saying it. You got to have some structures in place to make it happen.
All right, thank you all for presenting.
Thank you.
All right, now can we have a vote? All in favor? All right, any opposed? All right, you got it. Now we will have Kevin Hampton talk about the mass notification system, app, and social media monitoring.
Good evening, Board. The mass notification system is a primary method of communication from the district to families and staff for a variety of purposes, including crisis communications. Blackboard has a reputation nationally for high-quality service. They also are our website provider. Blackboard's notification system includes voice, email, and text. In addition, Blackboard will develop a fully custom mobile app and provide a social media management tool. Blackboard is not the lowest bidder for this request. However, the lowest bid was submitted by our current service provider, which has had ongoing issues with email being identified as spam, resulting in undelivered messages and frequent delays when creating and sending messages, and that's just not acceptable. Based on these factors, administration recommends that the board approve a 1-year contract with Blackboard for their mass notification system, mobile app, and social media manager in the amount of $17,860.
May I get a motion? Discussion? Hearing none? Would you guys like the maximum notification system? Approved? All right, any opposed? All right, we have a new maximum notification system.
Thank you.
No more spam, right? Check your spam.
All right, now we will have Antonio Adams and Laura Madruzik talk about our food service program. Good morning, board. Good morning, everyone else. Evening. Oh, oh my gracious. It's been a long day, sorry. I am here with Antonio Adams, and I also wanted to mention that Mike Butler is here with SFE, and we have had SFE with us for a year now. And I have asked Antonio to give us a report on the things that they've been doing this year. And we had a rough start, and I won't lie about that. We really had some issues when we very first started. Change is hard, and it was really, really hard at first. And we had some courageous conversations, and we just kind of laughed about this yesterday. I finally just had to say, look, this is our program, and you guys need to help make the program the way that we want it. And they very graciously, I mean, they have bent over backwards to make sure that things happen the way that we needed it to. And so they've interviewed students, and they've interviewed principals, and they've done a lot of interviews and tried to create the program that we really wanted. And I've been very, very, very happy with the job they've been doing. I appreciate Antonio. Anytime I call him, he says yes ma'am, and he gets it done. So I really appreciate that about him. And he has very good support with Mike, because whenever Antonio needs help, he can go to Mike, and Mike is always very supportive as well. So right now, have I been like making this go?
No, it's not automatic.
Oh, all right. Well, let's go backwards and let Antonio do his slideshow, because he's been doing some really great things. So.
You sure you don't want to tell everybody more good things about me?
Yes. All right. We love you. All right. Go ahead.
So, ladies of the board, Dr. Davis, Ferguson, Flores, and family, good evening.
Good evening.
If you haven't met, my name is Antonio Adams, and I'm the food service director for this district. Tonight I will be providing a food service program update for you all. We've been doing some great things in the district, so I'm excited to tell you a little more about it. So here's our agenda for tonight. Our first slide will be the purpose of the brief. Next, we will get into employee recognition and appreciation, team training, district and community involvement, end of year financial highlights, looking forward, and if there's any pending questions. So purpose. The purpose of this briefing is to update the Ferguson-Florissant School Board, Dr. Davis, and the community on the events and accomplishments of the food service program this past school year. Employee recognition and appreciation. So, employee recognition and appreciation is needed to have sustainable success in any organization. We understand how important our team members are and have been deliberate in the ways that we show appreciation to them. Listed on this slide are 3 of the concepts we utilized last year to ensure our team felt appreciated, were motivated to be creative, and were recognized for their contributions to the district. First concept we will discuss is the implementation of the Cut Above the Rest Awards program. Next, we will discuss the most creative cafe decor, and finally, talk about employee appreciation celebration that we planned and executed in December of 2017. So, employee recognition and appreciation, a Cut Above the Rest award. This is a monthly award given to the district cafe staff that best excels in key focus areas to include positive cafe staff relationship with students, teachers, administrators, and principals, willingness to help others, understanding our number one priority, which is to provide our students with a smile and a healthy, tasty meal. Now, we have a certain process that we utilize to select a winner. Our district chefs, Susan and Tori, they each nominate a school they believe deserves the award for the month. Laura and I view services at those schools and discuss what stood out to each of us and select a winner. We then inform the principals of the winning staff and invite them to award the trophy, which is basically an engraved cutting board. It has the Ferguson Florissant emblem on it. It says a cut above the rest right under it. You'll see an example of it on the next slide. And then we tell the principals, don't tell the staff that we're coming. The staff won't know. We'll wait till that last person on the staff comes to work that day, and we'll surprise them. Principal Gerald's here. We did it at McClure. You'll see McClure on the slide, but it's really fun. We try to get the principals, administrators, and teachers involved, and it's a surprise to the ladies and gentlemen on the staff. So,
I tell you what, they cried. Like, these ladies
yeah.
cried.
It's a big deal. It means a lot.
Mhm. So they get that award, which they display in their kitchens for that month, and they also get certificates that you'll see in our next slide. So it's kind of, can't really see it on here, but if you look at your top left, you'll see Berkeley Middle School. Nancy and her staff do great there. Dr. Maxwell has also been very supportive there as well. If you look at your bottom left, you'll see Principal Andrade and Walnut Grove. If we look at our top right, you'll see Dr. Carroll and Val. And if you look at your bottom right, obviously you see McClure. And they were very excited. They were more appreciative of the award than I even expected. You had people crying, people very happy that they won, because they don't know. They just see all of us coming in, and they don't know what it's for until I call them all together, and we all just congratulate them at the same time. So it's a big deal to them. The next thing we're going to discuss is the most creative cafe decor that we do. So on Dr. Seuss Day, we decided to do something fun for the ladies. I know they usually do green eggs and ham for the students and staff and things like that, but we wanted to get them involved. So we gave them an opportunity to dress up and dress their cafes up in Dr. Seuss decor. And as you can see, they really bought into that. They really liked it very much. The winner and the runner-up, we provided with Dr. Seuss themed gifts, a Dr. Seuss medal, and took pictures with the principal and alerted them as well, so they didn't know. We compiled everything into a PowerPoint, so there was probably 40 or 50 pictures. We compiled into a PowerPoint, and there's 7 members of our office staff. We all had a vote on who we thought was the best and who was runner-up. And then after we did that, we sent it to all the cafeteria staff so all of them could see the good work and the fun that they had.
And the ones that didn't participate as much were like, we're running this next year.
Mhm.
They were really big excited about it. So.
Yeah, they really did. Next, we have our employee appreciation celebration that we had in December of 2017. We invited all of our staff and members of their family to the celebration. It was catered by Vernon's Barbecue, and my office management team helped serve our staff in the cafe. SFE, with the help of my leader, Mike Butler, was able to get about 50 raffle prizes for the ticket. And if you look in the bottom left, you can see Laura celebrating as someone won an award, but there was a grand prize, a 49-inch TV, and it was just really fun for everybody. A chance for us all to have fellowship without worrying about food service or things like that. The ladies didn't even serve themselves, we served them. So that was a great experience to meet their families and see them, outside of the normal, work dress.
Those ladies have hair. You only see their hair.
And some of them have some pretty good fashion too. So this is where we really put a focus on, is the training. So all that's fun, but we want to make sure that we're doing the right things and providing a quality service for the district. Training is always key to success in food service, but even more so when transitioning food service management companies. Now, as you know, we did a transition last year, and it was an audit year. So there was a lot we had to do as far as implementing our concepts and also ensuring that DESE compliance measures were met as well. We held 2 trainings per month, one where our cafe managers were the audience and one where the entire food service team was the audience on various topics, such as production records, culinary operations, and inventory management. Again, assuming a food service account during an audit year is a tremendous challenge, which we welcomed. Because of the thorough and detailed training from our office management team, to include Priscilla Urban, both of my district chefs, Susan and Tori, and my registered dietitian, Patty, we were able to pass our DESE audit with flying colors. Because we trained everyone to a certain standard, we were also able to promote from within this past year. For example, Margaret Swanson, who worked in the cafe at Bermuda Elementary, retired. And while we missed her, we had to find a permanent solution there. So we had Peggy Crafton, who was a team member at McClure. We were able to promote her just because she was trained. And yes, she needed some more grooming by the staff, but she's ready to go. She's been at Bermuda for the duration of the year, and she did a great job. So because we try to train everyone to a certain standard, if we need to put people in certain positions because someone retires, someone's sick, someone's out, we're able to do that.
And I will add to that, Antonio does a good job. He doesn't just go in and say, do this because. He goes in and says, we do this because. And so it helps the ladies to understand. And so they had a really good understanding.
They had a really good understanding by the end of the year why they were doing certain things. You talked to them about at the end of the year not like wasting food, like not having, like making sure to use the food so that we didn't have to throw it away and waste it. And he really did a good job, instead of just telling them this is what we're doing, explaining why, and they got it and they embraced it, and they really came a long way this year, you know, as far as wanting to learn more. So he's a really good coach. I've really been impressed with that.
So one of the things that I've realized just working with the ladies, even, you can talk to someone, this is from the military background as well, but you can talk to someone and tell them to do something, but these days you really need to have them see the broad spectrum of why you're doing it and how it fits in to the bigger goal. If they understand the goals that we're trying to reach, then they can more effectively do what they need to do. If you just tell somebody to do something, they're going to get tired of that all the time. But if you show them what you're doing to support the mission and the goal of the district, or whatever mission and goal that we want to meet, they're more apt to take onto it, grasp onto it, and be able to meet whatever specifications you need. Next, we have our district and community involvement. So if you look at the top left, that's our registered dietitian, Patty.
Who is here, by the way? I apologize, Patty.
Patty and myself, we assisted with the Walk to School event with Dr. Washington at Bode Elementary. It was really an extremely fun event. We had a good turnout. Yes, we're the food service management company, but really, if any of the principals need us to do anything, Laura, you know, anything we need to do to help something get done, we do. And that's one of the things we did there. I fit in that suit. I'm 6'2" and I'm about 230. Y'all can't see the pants, there's a reason. But I did it for the kids. That's what I continue to tell Patty, hey, I'm doing this for the kids. So it was a really good time out there, and we really enjoyed it, and we welcome to do similar things next year. If you look at the bottom left, you'll see our farmers market program, and I'm sure most of you have seen this, where our chefs and our nutritionists do a great job of presenting fruits and vegetables that students would normally eat to them. Now, what we do is we don't take money from anywhere. We just utilize the grant funds that are already allocated to our Rainbow Days grant. Previously, the fruits and vegetables have just been put on the salad bar line, but we want to expose the kids to them through touch, feel, you know, all of those type things. So they're able to touch the fruit, they're able to eat what they see, and they seem to enjoy it, because as soon as they walk in the cafeteria, that's the first thing that they gravitate to. If we look at our top right, it is the family recess event that we helped out with a few Saturdays ago. Laura, thank you again for inviting us. Laura and Kelly were great, but we were able to do the same thing there, present the community with different fruits and vegetables that they haven't seen before, helped with water, helped wherever we were needed. And we look forward to helping out with those later on in the year as well. And then if you look at the bottom right, you'll see myself, Priscilla Urban, and Donna Troy. And I think this was a great idea by Dr. Boyd and Donna, Priscilla as well. Whenever we have hiring events, I'll go with the ladies as well to streamline the hiring process. So what we noticed was a lot of our applicants were finding other places of employment because the process took too long. The process from application online to somebody talking with them, and then eventually going to the director and getting interviewed, and then waiting to get their fingerprints and, you know, their head-based shots and all that was so long that we were losing quality applicants. So we streamlined the process to just do it in one day. I'm there, the ladies get them through, I interview them, and then they're already good to go. So we've learned to streamline that process with the help of the ladies and Dr. Boyd. So we've been able to gain about 4 people from that event alone. And we continue to go to those events because they seem to give us some quality candidates. end of the year financial highlights. So the end of the year cost per meal for our district was $1.08, and I like to brag on this because my boss told me we're the lowest of any entry level account in his region. So as you know, there's transition costs, initial costs, but we were able, with the help of the nutritionists, the chefs, and the ladies in the cafeterias, were able to refine that and get it down to a reasonable amount. We served over 2 million meals last school year, over $35,000 in catering dollars earned. Y'all have been able to taste their food, so I think you know why. Over $62,000 in earned revenue from healthy snack sales, and over $500,000 in the food service surplus at the conclusion of the year. To end the presentation, I'll touch on a few things that we want to implement into the district next year. One of them is the Roving Chef program. And what it is a hands-on cooking class led by a member of the SFE management team. Students are outfitted with gloves, aprons, and chef hats and cook a simple, nutritious meal that they are able to eat afterward. They also get participation certificates and the recipe of the meal that they cooked during the session. So I've actually seen this in a different district. And I know one of the things when I'm at these board meetings that I hear a lot about is PBIS. And this is one of the things that can be used for positive behavior. If you have this in elementaries or middle schools where students are top performers, they're able to go in there, cook something up and take pictures and do all that type of fun stuff. So that could be utilized for that purpose as well. The Try It Tuesday program, as you can see on the bottom right, just utilizing that to introduce new foods and new options to students without just putting it on the menu before they were even talked to about it. Hey, it doesn't go toward the meal you're already eating. You can come in a line, taste a few different things, let us know your thoughts, so we can eventually get it on the menu, or maybe just know to keep it off just based on the feedback that we hear from the students. And speaking of that, that's one of the things that Patty and I have done throughout this year is focus groups. We've been at Central Elementary, Cross Keys Elementary, McClure Elementary, our McClure High School, and a few other schools, actually talking with the students. Surveys are good for certain things, but I feel like when you're talking food or if you're talking certain things, you need to be able to talk to the students so they can be honest with you. You know, some people may just check boxes or something on certain things, but if you're able to actually see the students, interact with the students, just go down to their level, see what they like, see what they don't like, and what can we do to meet their needs. That's one of the things that we've done there. And also for our menu for the 18-19 school year, we implemented the kitchen managers in the decision-making process. So Patty designed a structured menu and went through her menu with the cafe managers, and they implemented their thoughts into it as well. So it's not just menus getting created and, you know, we're trying to go by the menu. We're taking what the students are saying into effect, and we're also taking what the cafe managers think for their specific schools into account. And finally, we would like to say thank you for the opportunity to serve Ferguson Florissant School District. I love it. I know my team loves it as well. It's a challenge every day in certain assets, but we get to go and see people develop. You get to see people that weren't managers grow and thrive as managers. For example, Kathy, who is the middle left, who now works at Robinwood, she came from McClure. And, you know, certain people didn't want to be managers, but now they're thriving, they're doing great things, and they're really happy and changing others' lives around them. So it's good for us to see as well. So again, thank you for the support. Thank you for your patience with us, because again, in a transition, you don't know the norms of the schools. Everything's different, and we were able to finally get on track and understand what everyone wanted and the differences and things of that nature. So thank you. Pending any questions, that concludes my brief for tonight.
I'd like to first say thank you so much for your presentation. I know I gave you a short time limit, but thank you so much. It was a wonderful presentation.
No problem.
I have a question. Yeah, the presentation was awesome, and my question is because all the things that you're doing is so wonderful, but the thing that you hit on at the end was, what are you doing in terms of students and their feedback on certain items or food? And you answered part of my question. So what changes have you made based on some of the student feedback that you got? And I'm glad that you're doing that. I think it's very important for you to be face-to-face and not do like a survey thing, because I don't think those are as, strong as you doing a face-to-face. the students will tell you what they like and what they don't.
Yes, ma'am, exactly. Yeah, so the first thing that we did was we changed the pizza that the company normally utilizes to the same pizza that the students are accustomed to from the past few years. We've changed things such as nacho cheese, chicken patties, types of chips that we've offered. We actually listed all the changes on a poster and then told the students we welcome the changes. We welcome you talking to us because we make those changes and those adjustments based on what you say. So whenever there's another thing is like the juice. They say they want more juice options. Well, I'm working with corporate to get more juice options. Whatever these students say that they want that we can do under compliance guidelines, that's what we're trying to do.
I think that should be a part of your presentation next time, because that's what we're really trying to satisfy the students to make sure that they are getting nutritious meals and that it's a meal that they're gonna eat.
Yes, ma'am.
And he slept over that pizza piece. That is a big, huge piece, because when SFB came, they were like, we got the best pizza in the world. Nobody can have better pizza than us. And so it got, and I was like, they don't like your pizza. And he was like, it's the best pizza in the world. I'm like, they don't like your pizza. And so he goes to Mike, and Mike was like, okay. And that's kind of when we had that conversation, like, well, this is what we want. And so he had to go to corporate and say, we can't serve this pizza. And he really went to battle for us, because I don't think they were wanting us to serve this other pizza. They wanted us to serve their pizza because it's the best in the whole wide world. But our kids didn't like their good pizza. You know, whole wheat crust. It was just, I liked it, but not everybody does. And so Mike went to battle with corporate over this pizza, and basically then he told, this was why we were laughing about this story yesterday, and he said, they're the client. And so that's when they were like, okay. You know, so they went to battle for us over the kids, because the kids did not like the pizza.
And they're not gonna eat it. They're gonna tell you. They're the most honest people on earth.
and we did that, Dr. Thurman, that taste test for the pizza at McClure. Yeah. So yeah, I need to add that next time. I will. Next year I'm gonna add it all.
I had a chance to go to one of Antonio's meetings with the managers. I think it was your managers the day I was in there.
Yes, sir.
And just the relationships that he has with them and the camaraderie that's there. I think that's really important to note, because when you're trying to support others, it's about building the relationships, right? Like, I think that's critical. And I always get a hard time from Peggy over at Central. I still owe her some donuts, and I didn't get a chance to bring them back to her. But I make it my business, even when I'm in schools, to go into the cafeteria and to talk with students and to talk to folks who are our employees in the cafeteria, because everybody's important. That relationship is critical. And I know that was a big part of, before we brought SFP on board, when we had another group here, that relationship piece and that community building piece was really important. So I just wanted to highlight that at this time, because you need to know that.
I have a question, and it's more for the dietitian. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Your menus, do they come from corporate, or do you specify them for just us, or?
So I create them from scratch. So we do take a lot of the student input. Sure, we have recipes that corporate provides, but that's where the taste testing comes in. We learn what the students like. We learn what the cafeteria staff can prepare. I like to put recipes on there. Maybe one really popular recipe that the students really go for, and maybe one that we want to see if the students might try it. There's a science to it. There's an art to it. And so all the menus are created from scratch.
From here?
Yes, to fit the district.
Good. Thank you very much.
Any additional questions? My only question is, parents. Is there a way that you could somehow, or is there any programs that SFE does that could start looking at helping parents, maybe some type of parent education, anything like that?
Healthy eating.
We could work on that.
We actually have a program. Yeah, we actually have a program where we do cooking classes strictly for parents, and we usually set that up in 2 or 3 different areas, depending on what the school feels is a good area for us to go in and work with parents. But we currently have those programs in place, and they're very popular. So we would be more than happy to set something like that up.
Yes, so can we look at that for the next school year?
Yes, ma'am.
Everybody
In that realm,
can you also throw in the economics of it? Because I know sometimes we can give them cooking lessons and tell them this is the right thing, but not everybody has the same budget. So if we could
Right.
help them, this is the best food you can get for $10, this is the best food you can get for $2.
Absolutely.
So
Our
that would
focus,
be really helpful, I think.
our focus is on fresh and trying to get parents to stop eating fast food and to focus on freshness and to focus on healthy type of things. So yes, we do kind of do a budget thing. We'll put together a meal which also comes with a budget, which also comes with the printout of the recipe and the different things that you can do to put that all together. It's actually one whole program, but yes, that's an excellent idea.
And that's what I was gonna ask, my next question, is there a way that we can, just to add them, to have a section in the portal, and just have a healthy food section, so that you guys can start giving, parents those opportunities to even look at it.
A question, or to look at some recipes, or?
And we did do, you didn't put that in there, for one of our healthy, was it February?
It was, Heart Health Month that
Heart
kind of
Health Month.
transitioned into National Nutrition
Yeah,
Month.
so they created like one of those, tasty videos, where you see the hands, they prepare.
Okay.
So they did that with with potatoes or what?
Yeah, we did a cheesy broccoli baked potato.
Yeah, and they put it together on a video, and then they put it on our website under our wellness, and then they posted the recipe. That was back in February.
Okay.
But that was for like the staff, pretty much, and then the staff could take a picture of them doing it, and they could enter it into our price.
But it was also an item that was featured on the student menus too. So it shows that the students and the parents, everybody needs good nutrients that we provide at the schools. And so what the students eat at school is a good example of what they should be able to eat at home too.
So adding that piece would be helpful, I believe.
What are you all doing anything for summer?
Yes, ma'am.
I just wanna, did you talk about that?
We're doing summer feeding. I mean, I just went by exactly.
So I just want to let y'all know, he actually was supposed to present next month, but our next agenda item, we are approving hopefully approving the contract. So I felt that it will be important for us to know exactly what they're doing before we say yes.
Yeah.
So I met with them on Friday, he only had a week. So he couldn't put everything in.
I was on vacation,
Andrew
so
was on vacation.
I only had a day, but it's all good. I made it happen though, so.
Antonio, he always makes me happy. I said, Antonio, I did not want to bother you on your vacation, so, I get these presentations every month, and I said, just put this together for what you give to me, just put it together and give it to the board, and so the next, day he had it, but he was on vacation with his children, I didn't want to
Next time I'll get it right, ladies.
So that's why some of the things may be missing, just to let you guys know it's a little less.
But it was a very good idea, thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other questions? All right, while you're standing at the podium, we can just go ahead and move to number 12. And can I get a recommendation for the approval of the contract?
Moving and I do it? No, you did it. I thought you were like you were going to vote for it.
All right, is there any discussion additional? All right, all in favor of authorizing the superintendent to renew the contract with SFE for the 2018-2019 school year? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Welcome back.
Thank you, board.
Thank you very much.
All right, Laura, it's your turn. Time to think.
Missouri statutes require districts to approve a budget by fund and authorize all expenditures in accordance with the budget. The board did approve the original budget back in June of 2017. We will be overspending expenditures in the debt service fund, and so I'm requesting that the board approve a budget increase to the debt service fund of $550,000 for this school year's budget.
Have a motion? Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you. I also need to do an interfund request for the board to approve an interfund transfer from the core operating general fund into the capital fund. When we receive our funding from the USDA for the food service money, it all goes into the general fund. We are able to use that money to buy capital equipment, so we were able to buy a whole bunch of ovens at McClure this year, and we also put in the equipment at the STEAM cafeteria. We had a lot of excess funds from the USDA that I needed to spend, so we were able to spend some of that money. So in order to pay for that, that came out of the capital fund, we need to do a transfer to cover those expenditures from the food service general fund to the food service capital fund.
Can I motion?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye. Any opposed? All right, there you have it.
And now I'm playing Laura Madrusick and Terry O'Neill in this segment. Unfortunately, Terry has been battling some kind of a flu for the last 2 days, and he was here. He tried to make it. However, he threw up and went home. So I'm going to give, I knew this anyway, so we're going to give this together. So the capital and bond budget are always approved as a separate bond or as a separate agenda item. And so we are going to go over the bond budget and requesting approval of that. This year we are asking for $6,650,000 in the bond fund of expenditures. $710,000 of that will go for equipment and replacement of capital funds. A lot of that is just for furniture, again, kitchen AV, custodial equipment, instructional furniture and equipment. Also for the buses, we are buying buses out of that allotment, and I think we're going to have to get a new a used dump truck out of that as well. So that will be the $710,000. Infrastructure and building systems for $1.2 million, and basically that covers all of your mechanical, electrical, plumbing, our roofing, our paving, our flooring, security, and site improvements. We are going to have the new roof for airport this year, and also funds for emergency repairs. And there's also asphalt sealing and patching and emergency repair, flooring needs as needed, security, whenever we need some type of security equipment, we can purchase it, and then landscaping and upgrades with the sites. So that's the $1.2 million. Major outlay, we didn't allocate any money for that because our bond funds are dwindling, so we're just hoping that we didn't have any big major needs that we were going to replace this year. Miscellaneous emergency projects are just that. Whenever like an HVA system goes down or a roof springs a leak, then we have some funding to cover those. The schools get an allocation of $100,000, and basically we get that allocation based on they get $2,500 allotment, and then however much their enrollment is. So the schools do get money for their capital needs. It's a small allotment, but they are able to buy Chrome cards and things like that with the funding. Technology services is given $1 million. And safety and security systems, this is part 2 of the security bond projects that we went to the voters with a long time ago when we very first did this. And so this phase is for the door entry systems at all elementary schools and middle schools, and includes card readers, entry systems for the staff, and audiovisual systems for the guests. So when they come through the door, there'll be a camera there. So we've allocated $3.4 million for that project, with a total bond budget of $6.6 million. And then we also have some capital item expenditures. So whenever we purchase anything for federal programs, whenever they put something into their budget, that comes out of the capital funds. Insurance replacement, anytime something's broken, that comes out of capital. And then when we get the money back from the insurance, we deposit that back into the account. But we have to put the expenditure as an expenditure on the budget. Site improvements, so McClure North Annex, we need to do some work there to put the big guts of what runs our, I don't know what you call it, I'm not technology, sorry. The guts that runs it is going to go into the annex. Done road improvements, so we've got work to do in the back to make that so that the facilities department can move into the back. We have some offices and things like that to build. And then site improvement, there is a paving project at the new building also, so that we can improve that parking. So, and then the certificate of participation payment of $373,000, we borrowed money to buy the building through the certificate of participation, and so that comes out of that account. So the total capital budget is $988,000. So those two added together, when we report it to the state, is just one number, and that would be $7.6 million. So administration is seeking approval of the bond and capital budget. Does anybody have questions?
Can I get a motion first?
So moved.
All right, now does anyone have questions?
Thank goodness, because I'm not Terry O'Neill. Although we got Matt here, Matt can answer anything I can't, so.
All right, all in favor of the budget?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? You have that?
All right, thank you very much. We can start spending, Matt. Go to work.
All right, the last thing is you again.
Me again. Sorry, you're stuck with me all night. And so you all should have received a copy of the proposed district budget. What I did was I uploaded what I call the Reader's Digest version so that it wasn't quite so detailed, and it just kind of broke it down by salaries and benefits and purchase service and materials and supplies. And then today we uploaded the big, huge budget that nobody ever reads. And so, but I thought it would be there if you had any questions. So tonight we're going to ask for the adoption of the 2018-2019 school year. So whenever I think of the budget, I think of a piece of pie, a piece of money pie that everybody would love to have. And so with that money, you just have that one, you think of an apple pie and you have a pie and you have your allocations, and whenever you eat up a whole bunch of that, there's not a lot left. And so except for those crumbs on the side. So when I think of our budget, 85% of it goes to salaries and benefits. That only leaves, there's 8 pieces there, and that only leaves about 1.5 pieces of that pie left that we have money to do with. So we really try to be frugal whenever we're working on this budget, God bless you, so that we can allocate that funding correctly. Because once that money's gone, there's no pie left. And so we're going to talk about the revenue first, and unfortunately Little Creek does not grow money on the trees out there, so we are dependent on different types of money that we get. The biggest portion of money that we get is our local revenue, which comes from our sales, our property taxes and personal property taxes. I wanted to look at last year's, how we ended the 2017 year and how I believe that we're going to come in for 2018, because it's important when I make my decisions for what we're going to get for 2019. So in 2017 to 18, as you can see in current taxes, we got close to $3 million of extra revenue. 2017 was a reassessment year, and what also happened that year is that we had 3 pieces of property, Patheon, SKF, and Boeing, who are doing some improvements to their properties, and they also purchased some equipment. And so 2017 was the magic year whenever they were finished with those projects, and we were able to get close to $3 million extra. Well, actually, it was about 2.1 extra, 2.3, sorry. The rest of it was the increase in the assessments throughout the properties. But so we did get a big bump up in revenue because of that. So as you can see, from 2017 to 2018, we got $3 million extra in current taxes. Delinquent taxes, we also received about $243,000 extra. We have a lot of protested taxes sitting out there, and they're waiting to be they go to the state board for review, and so as those are settling, we either have to pay or we get additional funding. So we were able to get $243 extra in people that paid their late delinquent taxes. Surcharge is basically the equipment that is in all of the buildings, and so we received about $1 million extra in surcharge this year. In lieu of taxes was a payment that we received whenever someone has abated property, like the people that sit in the tipped area. Whenever that money is paid into in lieu of taxes, it goes into a fund. And there was actually an excess of fund in the funding over in Hazelwood, and so we were able to get $1 million check this year from the county for the end of that pilot. And so that was a nice little boost. We got $1 million extra just in lieu of taxes. We saw a decrease in the budget this year of bank interest, and that's just because I didn't sell bonds this fiscal year, and some of that bank interest comes from our sale of bonds. And then our E-rate, we lost about $265,000 in funding from E-rate on the revenue side because they changed the way that they do E-rate. So instead of giving us a check for the projects that we do, they reduce the expenditures, and so you're going to see the expenditures dropped on the E-rate side also. So for our local, we did great. We received an additional $4.3 million from the prior year, which really helped us out a lot because the next slide wasn't so pretty. So last year, or the prior year, basic formula is the funding that we get from the state. And so The prior year, from 2016 to 17, we had lost $1 million in basic formula funding. Last year, from 2017 to 2018, we lost $2 million of state revenue. So thankfully, we did receive the revenue from the local because it kind of helped make up for that loss that we had from the state. We also lost classroom trust fund money, so that was about $2.2 million of state revenue, 2.3 that we lost. Also, our Title I and Title II funds, those are starting to, we're starting to see lower revenue coming in, but we also have lower expenditures because we don't spend more than we get. So we'll see a drop on our expenditure side too, but we did see a change in federal revenue. And then our tuition from other districts, so Normandy, thankfully Normandy and Riverview are now accredited again, which means that the students pretty much all went back, and last year we received $230,000 less, and then this year we'll receive even less because our students should all be done now. So in operating revenue, because we had such a great input on the from the local taxes, we were able to keep status quo. That $4 million didn't increase our operating revenue, but it didn't decrease it either. So we were very lucky in that point. Moving forward. So 54% of our revenue comes from local tax dollars, and that the majority, like I said, comes from property tax. This is not a reassessment year. The county does reassessments every other year, so we really can't count on assessments going up or down for this year. So the property tax is just pretty much going to stay the same. We did have last year, like I said, we had that increase of 8.26%, which gave us additional dollars. But for this year, we just used the assessed valuation numbers that we received from the county in December. And I won't get those numbers until mid-July for what those assessments look like going forward. We can't count on getting any more revenue. I think we've pretty much revenued out right now because it's not a reassessment year. So basically, I just kept the current taxes the same with a slight increase of about $164,000. Sales tax, the economy's good and people are buying, and so what happens is the state collects the sales tax and then they redistribute it. So all the municipalities send in this 1% sales tax, they collect it, and then they distribute it back out to districts based on our weighted average daily attendance. We continue to see a decline in Prop C. However, because sales tax are going up and the factor goes up a little bit, and I'm being very optimistic with summer school and some of the things that we're doing with our attendance, that we might see a little bump up of about $90,000 in sales tax. County tax just always remains the same, and so I did bump it up about $100,000 based on history, but other than that, that's about the same as it's always been. We receive about 30% of our revenue from state funding, and so they've changed some of the factors in the formula, and I am being optimistic with the weighted average daily attendance this year because we did have a more robust summer school going on, so I did increase the state revenues by about decreased it by about 800. We've been, like I said, we lost $1 million the year before and $2 million last year. I think we're going to kind of level off right now, I hope, and I just did the decrease to be $800,000. Transportation, actually they increased the funding for this year's budget, so it's flat, but it's about $414,000. And our early childhood special ed is another large amount of revenue that comes from the state, and they fund what we spend, so we always receive the funding from early childhood special ed. 9% of our revenue comes from federal. The district does do the CEP for the USDA, and we did get a higher percentage this year on our CEP rating, so we might see a little bit more revenue, but I just kept it the same just because I don't want to count on it. And then we are going to see federal revenue maybe decline a little bit more in the Title I and Title II. So, and I reduce the expenditures I just make the revenue and the expenditures match because what we spend is what we get. And then again, like I said earlier, we will see a drop of approximately $200,000 next year because Riverview and Normandy are accredited. So here's just a nice little pie chart that shows that the biggest chunk of money on the right-hand side, 75%, comes from our local revenue, 30% comes from state, and the rest are smaller portions. And then we just break it out by fund too. So the biggest chunk of money goes into the special fund to pay for our teachers and administrators' salaries, and then 48% goes into the general fund to do, so those two funds make up our operating funds, and then capital and bond are the other two smaller pieces of pie. And looking at our expenditures, so going back from 17 to 18, again, when I'm working on the budget, I use history.
I use a lot of different things. And so this year we worked really hard on the staffing piece. We met with all the principals, we looked at their class sizes, we looked at their course offerings and how many students signed up to take courses. So we use that information as well as historical information, as well as information that I know for sure that's going to happen, that's been approved by the board for the future year. So from 17 to 18, we did see a $437,000 increase in the certified salaries, a $114,000 decrease in the non-certified salaries. Benefits went up by about $253,000, and that was basically, our benefit cost didn't change, but we did add a new benefit of the long-term disability. So that showed an increase of $228,000, and our materials and supplies actually went down this year. So from 17 to 18. So change in expenditures was about $129,000 after it all shook out. So operating expenses from 17 to 18 pretty much remained the same, and so that was good news because we did have the same revenue for operating on the same side. So we did not see a decrease in the fund balance for that year. So moving forward with the budget looking next year, we did negotiate an average salary increase of 2.92% for teachers and 2.52% for support staff. So the total increase of the budget for all employee groups resulted in an increase of $2 million. And that includes all of our part-time, our administrators, everybody. That $2 million was how much it cost for the raise this year. We did not increase the employee insurance costs because we've been having some great experiences with our insurance costs, and so we were able to keep that cost at the same, which really helps our budget a lot. Some things that were added to the budget, we increased the budget for our new IB program. Our AP, we ramped up because we've been doing so great with that, and dual credit programs, we put a little bit more money into that. Additional resources were added to summer school. Like I said, we ramped up summer school this year. We really want to try to get these kids in and get them graduated, and so we added about $129,000 to summer school. Our professional development budget was increased by $117,000, and that was just, we're doing so many great things with PD that we wanted to, it was hard to cut. We go through the PD budget, and it was just hard to cut the things out that we needed to, so we just raised that. We're spending more than the 1% on our PD this year. Like I said, E-rate has changed the way they do their procedures, so we were able to reduce our expenditures by about $400,000 in telecommunications. And then with the closing of the administration center and the facilities, the utility savings will save us about $175,000. For our staffing, we added 3 positions to our alternative program to help us ramp up our alternative program, and that was an increased cost of $352,000. We had certified turnover savings for 28 retirees that resulted in a $1.1 million of savings. We had some very good savings with our turnover this year. We had a maximization of 33.8 positions, and that was a result of a savings of $1.3 million. And again, we'll continue to keep looking at all of these things as we move forward to make sure that we're utilizing the district dollars as the best way that we can. So on this chart, you'll see that 59.4% of our budget goes to certified salary, 22.2 goes to non-certified salary, and 26.2 goes to benefits. So we spend more on benefits than we do on our non-certified salary, which is just amazing to me. $10 million will go to purchase services, and $8 million will go to materials and supplies. And so basically, this is how we report our expenditures to the state. I'm required to show the estimated in the budget to the state in our state reports, and so this is just basically a screen for you to see that. It's in your packet. Oops. And then this just breaks out our expenditures by function, which is another way I have to report it to state. So instruction is that big piece of pie on the side. You'll see that the majority of our money goes to instruction. And then our summary for the budget is that we will end the year balanced. We will bring in about $126.2 million, and we will spend $125.9, which will give us a little bit of a bump of our operating balance of 17.87%. Oops, that shouldn't be there. And so as you can see this slide here, it kind of does show the blue you'll see is our revenue. So we continue to have just a little bit more revenue than we do expenditures each year, which is a lot different looking than it used to look, which is really happy. I'm very happy about that. And as you can see, our fund balances have been we've
been just staying balanced, and so our fund balance service are also staying balanced, but it's a far cry from the 13.49% that we did have in 12-13, so I'm very happy about that too. So we do anticipate a balanced budget by the end of June of 2019. We will continue to thoroughly review all revenues and expenditures throughout the year. We make decisions based on what's best for students, and when we're looking at those budgets, I went to the MOASBO, Carlton and I went to MOASBO, and we learned some good tricks, and so we're going to be doing a little bit some things differently when someone requests, sorry cabinet people, more forms to fill out, but it'll help us with our budget decisions. And then, and basically we're just requesting that the board approve the 18-19 budget.
Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Any questions?
A lot of work, but thank you very much.
You're welcome.
We appreciate you, the work that you do.
Thank you.
I did have one question, in regards to early education.
Yes, ma'am.
Did we increase more in that budget area, or?
Actually, the salaries did go up on that, and it was just there's natural salary increase. We've not increased positions at this time. We're still working with the early ed staff to look at that program. We've been meeting with Shantana and some of the early ed staff to figure out how we can make that program even more robust and expand it. We've not at this time added positions, but we haven't cut any positions, and when positions open up, we've been able to fill them. So.
Any other questions? All right. Are you guys all in favor of approving the operating budget for fiscal 2018-2019? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? You have a new operating budget.
Thank you very much, everybody, and now you don't have to look at me anymore. You guys either.
So, if there are no further business, we adjourn the meeting. Thank you.